feeling of loss of motivation is something that is such a dangerous trap that can cause a whirlwind of doubt and worry amongst your mind. This is something I deal with for years and have highs and lows of being able to handle and overcome my loss of motivation towards tasks. Welcome to Moseying with Miss Willow. This is a journaling series where I create stories about my own life, struggles alongside victories to share with you guys, and especially future me to look back on. I have a hard time writing a diary, but reading out loud and writing for the sake of being able to help other people with that small possibility makes the concept of journaling so much better. The feeling of having little to no inspiration is tough. I have this alongside wanting to be something and aspiring to create so painfully that I find that I can't. I will explain this in an example of my work. I get much boredom while at work at times, which leads me to lack of inspiration to move forward with it. This does cause me intense anxiety that keeps me sometimes from accomplishing certain tasks well. My fear of having nothing to do leads me to actually have nothing to do, as funny as that sounds. It amazes me how much something that also brings me so much joy, such as my video content creation and art, or my own business that I run, can also bleed into these feelings. These intense feelings. Sometimes I will go through days or weeks of creating nothing meaningful. Was this for the algorithm or self-gain? Was this delving into territory of laziness or something else? Instead, I would rather feel beat and waste my own time laying in bed without recording and getting nothing accomplished, which I wish I could. Some would tell me to take a break from what I'm doing as it could be a side effect of burnout. I believe it isn't, since I don't nearly accomplish what I aspire to be so often. I have done so much more in the past and felt very, very energized. I feel frustrated at times with so many ideas and aspirations for who I want to be, the videos I want to create, the work I want to get done at my job, and more. There is so much that I wish to complete or be more like. There's a certain vision within myself of the person and the content creator and teacher that I am that I want to be more like. For instance, creating one or more new types of videos that I think could get me further in my future dream career. So many ideas jumble within my own head that I want to do, yet nothing seems to come out of my hands. As an artist, this is extremely heart-wrenching, as there's so much you wish to do. Luckily, my small community has given me something to work towards. With these feelings of no motivation, with so much to do, I know that there is something or someone out there looking forward to the little things that are part of my life and style, and what it is that I do share. These specific Moseying with Miss Willow videos are my placeholders for more inspiration, as I find they unlock a part of my brain that thinks more deeply about the world around me, and who it is that I aspire to be. I'm learning that there is no need to have something so crazy to share or work on for the masses to enjoy. Just even a small seeking of sharing my thoughts is now bringing me so much joy and relaxation through these tough times. I am slowly yet surely learning from these feelings as I write, and have felt more and more healed by doing so. My motivation to create is higher and heightened by my writing, which exponentially creates a sense of wonder in me. What could I make next? What event in my life will I create content for? Will it inspire a certain artwork? This writing has taught me to take things small and short, making it simple for myself when in doubt and to take a little break. It is so very important to let things be easy on yourself at times, especially those times that are tough. You can't always push yourself so hard to create something you don't want to at the moment creatively, such as my drawings and games. Games and fun should not be burdens, and I will never let them be as part of my business, as well as something of a burden. Taking things easy can be hard, but at times it is necessary. Thank you for listening and watching. I hope my message reached you well, and I'm in good spirits. And if you also learned something from this small talk, that's great. I love you all. Thank you for being amazing. I will see you next time. Have a magical day. Hello everyone. I wanted to talk to you guys about some things that I've been going through and struggling with over this cold fall. Things are beautiful right now, and it's hard to appreciate them sometimes when crazed with worry. Worry that is keeping me from living a more adventurous driving life and trusting life. Welcome to Moseying with Miss Willow. This is the next segment where I wish to talk to you about my life experiences and things I am overcoming with my struggles, my wars, and my victories alike. But more of lately, these stories have been struggles. But I see God or the universe through every one of these scenarios. I grew up open to the idea of God, but always believed in a greater force protecting and guiding us through our life and choices. The doors which open and the doors which have been shut behind us abruptly to shed light onto new paths. The sudden realizations we have in life, I believe, are no mere coincidence, and simply asking for assistance may go a long way through my eyes. My mother, who has never been religious in this way, has recently taken Christianity to her heart and soul, and I'm very pleased for her. She is a beautiful woman with lots to share, and lots of mending she takes on for other people and helps them. She is truly something of wonders in my eyes. Over the last few cold months, I have had difficulty with anxiety, going to see my parents almost every day, nearly every day, to sometimes every day. I'm in the last safe anxiety medication that my doctor can find for me, and nothing has been able to give me any positive effects. 2 medicines I have tried to do help my sudden outbursts of panic and sadness as they calm me down, and one of which I wish to discuss further. None of this is advice to or not to get medicated for your possible anxiety, but rather my own experiences with the subject. My partner once tried a medication that is either the same or similar to one that I'm taking, nor which caused an effect on him, which caused me stress, with my own personal issues, which I'm not going to get into within this episode. I used to be ridden with anxiety by this, asking him constant questions out of obsessive-compulsive behavior, beginning to, in return, stress him out. Over the many months not understanding or trusting his responses of how he really felt, I've asked God to help me understand better, or have the great opportunity to grow. With none of my medications working, my doctor went down the row once again and suggested this one I so feared greatly and misunderstood, causing me to drift apart from my loved ones in one aspect, in an untrustworthy spiral of doubt and fear. I tried this one and understood the benefits and consequences of getting a taste myself, actually finding some peace with it, which was surprising to me. That same day, I drive on a road I fear greatly. I have horrible nightmares of hilly roads and rolling back in my car and being driven hastily along roadsides by others. Some of the medication which I'm taking has brought my anxiety to the worse, fearing roads that I have driven for ages. I know them well, yet in my head they are warped so greatly with my memory that I think they are some very scary obstacle. There is one where I got stuck behind a car on a hill, with a car in front of me and a car behind me on a steep slope, and I was too inexperienced to know exactly how I should steady myself as not to roll back into the person behind me. I felt very scared with this, but I overcame it in my own way. I was safe, and everyone else was also safe, but this encounter caused me great anxiety and terrible nightmares of that road which I've driven probably 50 times to get to my doctor's. And therefore, in my head, the road was steeper and more exaggerated than before in my mind's eye. As I could describe it, it was 2 big hills with a valley in the middle, and you could lay a tractor trailer on it and walk under it. That is how it was in my mind, truly. I was safe, everyone else was safe in this encounter, which was great. Therefore, in my head, the road was steeper and more exaggerated than before. That is the road I take to the doctor's. And that day also, having asked the universe or God for help, whichever you prefer to use, he answered, and I conquered the road that day, seeing how not steep it actually was. Later this week, I pondered on the many opportunities that God had given me to overcome my woes. I felt blessed instead of sarcastic, which would have been my first response. With my partner, I almost went ahead and mocked the medicine and gave it a bad name in favor of our past conversations, which have not been so positive about it. Instead, I stopped myself short, and I said, I should be grateful that now I get to understand it. I get to see for myself the road which was so twisted in my mind, see how not scary some things I make in my head really seem to be. This is just a quick talk about my opening up to reaching out to God in ways that I've never done before. I am still not sure what I believe in, but there is food for thought. And there is good in the world, and when I ask for assistance genuinely, I find that assistance comes to me. I hope this video found you well, and have a lovely and magical day. I love you. See you guys soon. Have you been trying to be happier or more content with things that you cannot control, or at least have a welcoming sense of adaptation to the feeling of boredom or worry or loneliness? This is something that I am struggling with and learning from. Welcome to Moseying with Miss Willow. This is the first true episode where I wish to talk to you about my personal journeys in life, about anything and everything real and hot button to me, inspiring me to share with you. Over the last while, as the days have grown colder and the wind brisk, I struggle with my work. My fun work, or work that brings me nothing but the satisfaction of being, and the work which I am forced to accomplish in order to survive. This has become a burden that ails me greatly, and I will explain why. And my negative outlook on my job at times mirrors against me as someone who is ungrateful. I remember when I first fought for my work and started the job in this particular position. I am a produce clerk. My job ranges from making fruit salad to helping others find healthy food options, inspiring others' cuisine, to the waking up at the 4 a.m. in the morning and leaving in the dark and cold to being alone for hours at the sink every morning to wash the vegetables. My happiness in the beginning actually did come from these moments. It's not a bad job. In fact, I love it. These seemingly dark and depressing features of having this work were some of the brightest to me. I could see past the cold and shivering of being in the back room for hours on end, and speaking not a word to another person upon arriving. That brought me so much inner peace of mind, for real. Over time, that honeymoon phase of loving what I did vanished after I began dealing with some personal discourse. My relationships and self-preservation of mind and fear had taken me hostage as I became dark myself. Going to that sink reminded me in the depths of loneliness that I was truly alone, fighting for scraps and selfishly antagonizing others in my attempts to keep myself comforted in my life. That sink grew deeper and deeper by the morning until it became the black hole that ate me up every time I worked. The job I once praised had been washed over by a negative interface of my own reflection in the water. Each shift became a war to get to the end. What would people around me think of me and my ethic of work? Was I enough? Was I doing enough or acting like I could be enough for my job? Everyone seemed to be doing a better job than me, and my negativity had just taken that as a roller coaster. Eventually, my fear got the best of me, and the place I had ruined became enough. I just couldn't do it anymore, and I ran away to the last thing that I thought could fix how I was feeling. I took my break early that day, thinking I was cutting something negative out of my life, and I quit. But later realizing that I had been the one to transform a beautiful place into something cold. I noticed the flaws of my ways. Waking up early to enjoy a breakfast in the dark with my lamp. Getting out of work by early afternoon, the perks of going in early, and having the quiet of the back rooms, had been flipped to losing my warm bed earlier than I wanted, being pushed out into the cold car and becoming lonely for hours on end, without another human to speak to next to me. I realized it was all of perspective. Now that I think about this and read my script out loud, I realize exactly why this has ailed me. The loneliness, the antsiness that I got that caused me to quit my job. The restless feeling I got at these sinks that made me so afraid that I have to run from them is simply because of myself. I would bring my negativity to that place, and, in return, that place became negativity. And upon realizing this fact, I made efforts to change what it was that I was doing every time a negative thought crossed my mind. That fear of thinking negative things led me to break up with the task I was doing in the mornings, which was reading posters out loud, to walking into the cooler and grabbing something, anything different than standing there. Now, I cannot focus on a single task without subconsciously becoming afraid of the thoughts, the stress, the overwhelming sensation to break it up. So I panicked and ran away, breaking it up for the last time. That is, until I got my job back. I ultimately discovered my demise was my own fault. The job itself was the one I actually wanted so badly and fought so hard to get. Why would I throw that away? Why would I lose the relationships that I had gained and so greatly possibly disappointed from my action? My carelessness towards the task at hand, the love that I used to give each plant that crossed my hand. As I fought to find a new job, the ghost of my past position continued to haunt me, as I attempted yet again to find a produce position at other stores, somehow wishing to be back where I was previously. Knowing well that they too would be the same, early mornings, lonely sinks, but it was a different environment that I had not destroyed for myself. If this was what truly darkened about my work, it was all completely within me, inside of me, not in the sinks or the mornings or the lack of people thereof. I fought for the next many weeks to regain my place where I was once lost. Eventually, my doctor signed me off for something enabling me time off for my anxiety and panic. With this and the understanding of the depth of my poor choice, I was finally allowed back, so luckily as now I continue where I left off, as if nothing happened, as though no relationships had been torn, as if no trust had been breached, as though I was a good worker again, proud again, and ready to defeat the darkness within me, ready to be excited again for my work, for my hours. I will be ready again. I will defeat the darkness which I have created and brought to that beautiful place. I will cover that place in light and move forward and backward simultaneously to meet my past self. Not the recent past, but for the far past whom squealed with joy before each shift. The one who got along so well with everyone and impressed others. The one who smiled at my own greens display. And with this newfound opportunity, which I am so grateful for, new awakening, I will take my job as the healthy and bright and beautiful part of my day, which shines good fortune and peace upon me. No longer do I work doing something I don't believe in. I actually found something that healed me, and I will allow it to heal me once again. I hope this has found you well. Maybe taking something from my experience that you also might be experiencing deeply. Anyways, I sincerely hope you also learn from your lessons, even the hardest ones, especially the ones which were brought upon by yourself, and learn. Have a lovely rest of your day. Bye.